this regular meeting of the Kingsville City Commission to order. It's July the 8th, 2013. All four members, commission members present. Commissioner Garcia is absent, but we do have a quorum. We open our meetings with a prayer and pledges of allegiance. If you care to join us, please stand. Father, lead us in prayer.
Father, we thank you for your goodness to us. We ask that you would lead, God, and direct us in this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right. I'll start. Okay. Next order of business is approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Pecos. Approve the minutes, seconded by Commissioner Pena. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Luber?
Yes.
Commissioner Beckles?
Yes.
Commissioner Pena?
Yes.
Mayor Hughey?
Yes. Okay, next we have one here. We have a public hearing. It's a hearing on an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance by granting a special use permit at 1601 South Highway 77, Sweet Pea, Kingsville Industrial Park 2, like 14.84 acres for a sports bar club, amending the comprehensive plan to account for any deviations from the existing comprehensive plan, providing for publication. This is a public hearing. Anybody that wants to speak, all you have to do is come to the podium, tell us who you are, and you have 5 minutes to speak on this subject, and that cannot be by rule, cannot be extended. I will say this: if you have a group here, and I'm not, and you don't have to follow this suggestion, but if you're trying to impress us, if there's a group of you, one of you might want to have a spokesman to come up, and then we can have everybody stand up who supports what they have to say. Okay? But that doesn't mean that how many of you that want to come up, you can come up. So now's the time. Anybody want to speak about this particular project? This will be the only time you'll have an opportunity to speak about this subject.
This is by the movie theater, correct?
That's correct.
Could I say?
Come on up. Nope, right there. And just tell us who you are and where you live, and you have 5 minutes or less to talk.
Probably won't even be that long. My name is Amanda Feigl, and I live on Fort Ice here in Kingsville. And I've been in Kingsville about 5 years now. I have my 2 kids, and there are very few family places to go here in Kingsville, and the movies is one of them. And they show movies late into the evening, which is really nice because in summer here we're kind of semi-nocturnal because of the heat. So a lot of times I will take my kids to a late movie, and the last thing that I want to do when I come out of the movies at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night is get hassled by drunks and have my kids possibly get run over. And that's just, it's not, I don't think that it's an appropriate area for that. And then I think it's a safety issue for the teenagers also. As we know, a lot of teenagers, they don't necessarily look like teenagers, and fake IDs are relatively easy to get. So if there's a club right next to the movies, all the kid's got to say to his parents is, "Hey mom, I'm going to the late show with my friends, drop me off," and then they're getting wasted instead of going to the movies. It's not a good thing for our community. It's not a safe thing, and it really would devalue one of the few family places that we have here in Kingsville. That's pretty much what I have to say on the subject.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Yep. What? came this close.
My name is Mark Cortez. I live here in Kingsville, 511 West Avenue A. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and all the staff. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to talk first and let me tell you a little bit about what's going on. I'm a minority partner with Mr. Leon Garcia in this business venture of relocating the Silversburg to the Wild Horse Mall. I've been a resident of Kingsville all my life, and I'm a sole proprietor of a sound production company here in Kingsville. I've had the opportunity to work with Mr. Garcia for the last 5.5 years. The Silverspur at the current location. What this new location offers this community is a higher end scale location where adults can gather to enjoy a nice relaxing evening for a drink and some entertainment. The current location has hampered our services due to its small floor plan. We need to keep in mind that any establishment, whether alcohol is served or not, there can be issues of adults not acting responsible. I understand that according to the city's master plan, and we state that we want continued growth for the city of Kingsville. We're here to support that cause. And in that I respectfully consider that you all approve the permit for us to relocate. I understand there's some conjunction with the theater. However, location-wise, the door to our establishment, if it passes, will be located to the east side. And the movie theater is a good 25, 30 yards back, and the entrances are on both south and north side. So traffic will not be allowed to come in through the mall into the establishment. There is no door there unless they can walk through a door. The place we plan to run was going to have strict security at its entrance. This will be a 21 and over establishment. We've had a clean record where we're at now, and we hope to continue this record and bring this type of establishment here to the city. So once again, I respectfully hope you consider this action, this permit, so that we can move forward and continue our growth. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? A moment.
My name is Patrick Garza, 1717 Linda, live here in the city. I want to speak just as a parent, but also as a teacher. I teach at Kingsville Leadership Academy right across the street, and one of the things that we're concerned about is, of course, the alcohol and so on and so forth, the disorderly conduct. And I realize that there's going to be security there. I realize that they're going to take every precaution. My concern is the what if. I don't know if I can live with myself when I consider, well, every precaution has been taken, but then what happens if a tragedy happens? If somebody comes out drunk, they run over somebody gets beaten up, and if it happens to one of the kids, it really concerns me. Not just as a teacher, but as a parent as well. It's one of the things that I look at myself and I say, I would love to see Kingsville grow, Kingsville prosper, and this seems like a really good thing. But deep down, I'm more worried about that what if. That what if could happen, and the first time something does happen, if it should happen, I'll be looking back and saying, was it a good idea in the first place? So, and I realize that the door is going to be located facing the front, but the parking is still going to be the majority outside. So they're still going to have to park on the side. There's only about 20 parking spaces there facing the door. So that's my piece.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I understand that.
Please tell me who you are and where you live.
I am Monica Lowy. I'm from Kingsville, Texas, 1204 East Lot.
Thank you.
Anywhere that you go here in town, you have the what if. Whether you are walking across the street from Pizza Hut to Sharon Williams, whether you're walking across the street from H.M. King to the mall, it doesn't matter where or what you do or where you go, the what if is always going to be there. As an aunt, I have several family members who live in this town. I also have several friends and kids, and I've always grown up with the children. However, no matter where you relocate an establishment to, the what if is always going to be there. So the Spur is not an establishment where it's fighting and violence and anger and hostility. It's more of a social gathering where people go sit down, have a couple of drinks, and they go home. They're more of a cheers type of establishment. So to me, moving forward, I understand what you're saying as far as a parent and a father, but as far as what if, it can happen anywhere. So it's just, you look at it from that aspect, I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at. If a tragedy is going to strike, a tragedy is going to strike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gary Reyes, 715 West Lee. I've gone to the Silver Spur for about 10 years since I've moved from California to Texas, and it's a very safe place. Like I said, I've gone there for about 10 years, every Tuesday night, sometimes on a Saturday. I've never seen drunks there. Fights, if they do break out, it's just maybe, and then it's taken care of. There's hardly never no problems there. When I leave, like about midnight, I never see drunks outside. I never see like erratic driving, anything like that. So I would say it's a pretty safe place.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we're going to close this public hearing and move on to reports from commission and staff. We opened it at what, 6:04 and we're closing it at 6:12. Did you get everybody's address?
I'm Amanda.
Amanda?
Amanda's last
What's
name?
it?
Could I write it down for you?
Yes, ma'am. You can write your first name and last name. Write it.
Okay. Courtney,
I like my privacy.
do you have anything?
On the hearing?
No. We're closing.
Yeah, no, I've got nothing there. Since Vince is out, I was just going to remind everyone that this Friday, the 12th, is the deadline for department heads to turn in timesheets to his office and their staff reports. And this Friday is also the deadline to turn in agenda items for our next commission meeting, which is in 2 weeks on July the 22nd.
Any questions? Anybody have anything on the commission? Well, I tell you, if we, I hate to tell you this, but the mayor and his baseball or softball team embarrassed and humiliated the host city. The Navy beat us 18-6, and they had to call the game in the 5th inning because of the mercy rule. And of course, all the city had was me and Commissioner Lubert, so that kind of tells you the tale of the score.
However, I made all the practices.
I didn't make any, so I was saving myself. Also, they had a concert that day, and I'll tell you, the Kingsville Symphony meets 4 times a year, and their 4th of July Symphony is outstanding. It's usually patriotic music, and it was quite an event, and I would encourage everybody to attend that. Take your family. It's a family event. You heard that tonight, and it's good entertainment. They do four concerts a year. They need more participation. So this is their 7th season. So for a city our size to have a symphony is quite a remarkable achievement. Also, we have such great musicians at the university and at the high school that there's very few professionals in this symphony that come from Corpus Christi. Most of them are made up of college students. So it's a good event. Anybody else have anything?
Just a matter of note on progress at the old HM King. I see that the windows are going up in the
windows are
on the the east side. Yeah. It looks quite impressive.
Yeah, the windows will be all in by next Wednesday.
So anybody has an opportunity, drive by there.
Yeah, really looks nice.
Really looks nice.
And they're starting to work on letting all the other contracts out. So it's really moving forward. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that goes.
I don't see Charlie here, but also on the roads and the street progress. That's moving quite well as well. That's quite a plus for our community, and there's a long ways to go, but we keep moving forward.
But we got a plan. Okay. And Commissioner Pappas, were you in the pep parade this weekend, or did?
No, unfortunately I was out of town.
Oh, I thought you were downtown Saturday morning.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you give me a hard time about not being there. Okay. Anything else? If not, then we'll go to the next item, and that is an opportunity for anybody that wants to talk about anything on or off the agenda. You have 3 minutes to talk about it. Just come up and tell us who you are and where you live.
Quicker meeting than I thought. My name is Leon Garcia. I live at 1533 Lewis Street. I want to speak on behalf of for the public hearing for the ordinance for amending the zoning. I am the owner of the Silver Spur Bar and Grill. I just wanted to speak on behalf of, we've been in business there for 30 years. I've been a part of it for 10. We have a really good establishment, a really good following in this community, and we have a really good track record as far as having no issues or any problems there. I wanted to make note to everybody who came out to support us today. Like you were saying, I'm not going to get everybody up here to talk in the beginning or the end, but I'd like to see a show of hands of everybody who was out here.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for consideration on this.
All right, man. Thank you. Anybody else want to speak on any subject? Chief, it's good to see you. With that, we'll go on to our consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Pena to accept the consent agenda as presented, seconded by Commissioner Pena. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Pickles?
Yes.
Commissioner Pena?
Yes.
Commissioner Luber?
Yes.
Mayor Buchanan?
Yes. Then we'll go into our regular agenda. This is just an introduction item tonight. We're no vote on it. It's got to have 2 readings, but it is an introduction of the ordinance amending the zoning ordinance by granting a special use permit to the Creek Sports Bar and Club. I've already read this once. I'm not going to read it again. But this is just an introduction item. Is there any discussion on this?
I have a couple of questions now.
Sure.
And I'm not sure who I should direct these to. Bob?
Well, I think Bob is our planner.
I have, one is, we've heard some concerns during public hearing. Is there going to be security outside? And is that a possibility? And I know in most commercial properties, there are people that are hired daily or nightly or weekly or as necessary to make sure the parking lots are clean, especially in bar areas. And I would highly recommend, if this passes, both of those items, because the security would allay some of the concerns that were heard today. And the trash problem is already something that we really, really need to deal with here in town. We're having a hard enough time getting people to pull their garbage cans off the street after they're picked up.
Well, the thing about that is, Commissioner, is that this will be an on-premise facility, and they can't take anything outside.
They can't, however, we know the realities, and there's a lot of bar trash that comes out at night, and then in bars there's just some stuff that's outside, and that's just a concern that may come up. Probably no more.
I would suspect you'll get more trash out of your movie goers. Probably
less than what's at the movie theaters already. But just saying for, a point of interest. And then the security, the night security, not just at the door.
Our code of our court enforcement will be out there monitoring the area. We can definitely make sure that they pick up after themselves and be a good neighbor. I think that's all I've got. I'm sure he'd love to speak.
Anything else? Does anybody Courtney, you got something you want to say?
I was just going to say, there's not an ordinance that requires security outside. However, having gone to the movie theater on Friday nights and Saturday nights, I'm not sure if it's the mall itself or if it's the theater, but there's generally an off-duty officer working security in the area of the movie theater.
It's just a, a point that might help people allay some of their concerns. Thank you.
Anything else?
Mayor,
Certainly.
according, in regards to the establishment, is it far away from the school or the church that meets the law requirements?
Yes, sir. The way the alcoholic beverage code determines or specifies how the measurement's done, it's from the entrance out to the street and then along the street, and then you have to cross the street, and then you go down the street to the entrance of the church or of the school, and it well exceeds the statutory requirement.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any other example with that kind of scenario where we have a club and a church?
Big House Burger.
We also just, whatever it was, the corner, there's always a bar and it goes to,
Commissioner, I don't know all the bars are.
Did we just do like the day and night club?
it was the day and night, but it was the one that was by, I think it's Clippers. On 6th Street.
Yes, and we have the for ponchos.
So there's a few I just
But I was
know
thinking
about.
the one, what was Corley's, is that the one?
Yeah.
What is that?
Cowgirl.
Okay.
The big house is even closer. And they sell.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I think that Taiwan's, was it a liquor store at one time?
They did at one time.
Yeah.
Before I was able to buy, so I can't address that.
So, it seems like the mayor knows more places that there's alcohol served.
What was the P&Z's vote on that?
The vote was 4-3 on June 26th.
What were some of the concerns on the three?
The concerns were the bar's proximity to the movie theater, the charter school, and the church. The same concerns that were brought up here today of the drinking or the potential for people wandering in, and they address that at the next meeting.
Anything else? Okay, that's an introduction item, so we're going to go to the next item. And I know there's several people here, and that's what y'all are here for. If you want to leave, I'll take a little break right here. Because we don't vote on it tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're down to the usual suspects. Next item is consider preliminary subdivision plat for Lakeview Villas containing 24 lots located at 1900 block and 2000 block of East General Cavazos Boulevard with conditions as per staff recommendation. Fred, it's good to see you here tonight, sir. This looks pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward, yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, as you said, it's Lakeview Vista, which contains 24 lots on 3.78 acres. The Planning and Engineering Department have reviewed the plat. We found it to meet all of our city requirements. Per city ordinance, this went to the Planning and Zoning Commission on June 26th. It was unanimously approved. The city staff recommends this plat for approval based on its benefit to the community and its adherence to the city ordinance. Follows the master plan.
Okay.
I have a question. Are they going to have a lake view at ever?
A true lake view of the.
We ever going to get any water?
Right now there's no water.
I know one time Mr. Disdar talked about maybe scaling back on the size of that lake. I think it's more than what was needed for drainage, but they use that for subdivision, so that's where they dug, if I'm not mistaken. So, Fred, is there any plans on maybe?
If we get water, it'd be perfect.
I don't know.
This actual layout does shrink the north side just a little bit. But the main thing was Mark's looked into, we've talked to the city about doing a well, and there's some ordinance issues there. We've talked about the possibility of some effluent water if that ever came available. That'd be maybe another source.
It's available.
Is it?
Yeah.
It goes right by there, yeah.
That might be something we definitely want to talk about. Yeah. Because we would like to have the lake view.
We just need a big rain.
Yeah. There's water in it. Well, last time I was here, there was water in it. On June 26th, there was some water in it. So.
Okay. Very good. Any questions about this? Drainage? I mean, how's this going to drain? Is it going to go into the lake, or is it going on?
It goes into the lake and then it's released out.
Okay.
One of the concerns that was brought up at the Planning and Zoning Commission was the fence, or the lack of a fence that we would talk about during the construction part of that. There was always a concern the backyards would be facing General Cavazos. So there was, if there's no fence, that you might get hit and miss fence line. So I think we will talk to the developer about putting up consistent fence on the back end, or maybe I don't want to say a sound wall, but just some sort of a fence. We definitely want to make sure we get that.
And that's what faces
East General Cavazos on the south side.
Correct.
Yeah. We don't want to have these backyards hit and miss with fences.
North side or south side?
Would be on the south side of East General Cavazos, the north side of their backyard.
Right.
So definitely, we're aware of this and definitely going to look into that.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Anything else? This is an action item.
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion made to accept this subdivision plat, seconded by, motion made by Commissioner Payne, seconded by Commissioner Luber. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Fenya?
Yes.
Commissioner Luber?
Yes.
Commissioner Pickles?
Yes.
Mayor Fugate?
Yes. Next item is consider introduction of an ordinance amending the City of Kingsville Code of Ordinances by amending section 15-6-1115 through 15-6-131, providing for substantial revision to sign ordinance.
Yes, this is introducing an ordinance for the commission to approve the amendment to the City Code of Ordinances for Chapter 15 zoning from Chapter 115 to 131, which clarifies the use of owner-identified signs. A lot of problems that we were having in the past was the vote for such and such, when to take it down. What we did was, well, my predecessor, Mike, the city planner, he went in there and he updated the existing city ordinance to meet the 2008 master plan and to basically break down when they can and cannot remove, or when they can remove the what do you call these signs? The
Election
signs. Thank you. Campaign signs. Yeah. And the problem was they didn't the city code didn't exactly state when they would be removed, when they should be removed. And what he did is he clarified that, and the changes were reviewed also by the Planning and Zoning Commission and unanimously approved. There were other things in this long document that he changed. Some of it was monument signing. We are going with all monument signing in the future. We're grandfathering in all of the pole signs for the time being, and if they need to be replaced, they got to be replaced with monument signs. I think in the past there was a question that was brought up by Planning and Zoning. Didn't we already approve these this monument? What happened was they added that to the pole sign in the past. So now definitely we're going with all monument signs.
Any questions?
That's monument sign meaning for new signage for new businesses.
For new businesses only, yes.
All right.
Monument
Like
signs.
this.
There were,
Like this.
yeah. I know there was an email some time ago with reference to markers, monument markers.
Wayfinding?
Huh?
Wayfinding?
You know, when someone's skilled in a
Oh,
certain
this
access.
doesn't address that.
I know, wouldn't this have been an appropriate time to include something like that as well?
I'd have to see what section.
I don't know, I'm just.
It's in there, what section is in there. This is an introductory item. I could definitely look at putting it in, or looking at, talk to Vince about putting it in there, or finding out where we could put it in. Or I could address it separately.
You remember the email?
Yeah.
It's been a while, right?
I don't know.
Might want to check with the city manager when he gets back.
Yeah.
And we can even put this off. I mean, this is not something that's time sensitive. We can put it off till August, and let Vince look at it, and you look at it and see whether or not this would be a good place to have a provision. Quite frankly, I vaguely remember the email, but I don't remember the contents exactly. What was it? It was
Part of the problem was out of town on the highways, but then
It was I think
there was
text
one in town.
But it's
I didn't get a copy of it, but I was told.
Around Chandler Acres, we had a complaint.
There was a complaint. But it's still within city limits.
Oh, there's several inside city limits, but I mean, that's.
But that's the only complaints we got with that.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Anything else? That's an introduction item, so let's go to the next thing. Consider resolution abandoning an easement within Farm Lot 15, Section 17 of the KTNI Company subdivision.
This is a request from the owner of the land. The buyer, she had a potential buyer, and the buyer was doing his due diligence and finding out what was on the deeds and all the previous deeds. And what was on there, what they discovered was an old King Ranch type deed that had a blanket easement on the property that allowed King Ranch or the city to place a water line or drainage ditch. What we have out there now, we've already got our drainage ditch alongside that particular property. So as far as drainage wise, we're okay. Water line wise, I don't foresee us moving in a water line through the property. This release, what we're asking for is a release of the blanket easement that the city would hold. Now, the owner would still have to get the King Ranch to approve their water line easement. So that's where we are.
That's not going to be a real problem because King Ranch didn't really.
That's like that.
Yeah, I mean, what could they need a water line to do that? It's kind of an interesting situation. This is a 1905 KTNI easement. That this was Nueces County. That was filed in Nueces County. We weren't even Clayburgh County yet when this easement was created. This guy really did some due diligence because I'll guarantee you, both of those car dealerships, IHOP, Chili's, all of those properties have this easement on it. This guy found it. And why anybody would need an easement out there for this, I don't know. I mean, the developer's going to have to pick, when they come in and plat it, they're going to have their plan. But I guarantee you all the rest of them have it.
And so he is asking, because the potential buyer definitely wants to make sure that they've got everything cleared, they're asking the city if they could clear us on this part of it.
Yeah.
Clear them.
Okay. Any questions or comments? This is a action item.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Lublick to abandon this easement, seconded by Commissioner Pecos. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Luber?
Yes.
Commissioner Pecos?
Yes.
Commissioner Pena?
Yes.
Mayor Keegan?
Yes. Now it's my understanding that number 9, we have found that we're not going to be able to participate, that we don't qualify for the grant.
Correct. With discussions with Walt Magnuson, telecom director at Texas A&M and College Station, and his discussions with the USDA Rural Utility Service, we are not eligible for this grant, primarily because of population. It was for populations of 20,000 or less. It was also for populations who were unserved by high-speed internet. And their definition of high-speed internet is 3 megabytes of data. And so what I did is I got Bob and myself and a couple of other people to run a speed test at their house and then send me the data, and I forwarded that to Mr. Magnuson. And we varied. Mine at the office was running 30. Bob ran 2 that day. One was 7.5 and 8.5. Jessica's was, I think, 5 or so. So just kind of a random check. It appears as though our speeds are there. Tony Verdine and I attended the webinar on the qualifications, and the specific question he asked was, what if our provider says they're providing internet speed at this, but it's either inconsistent at that speed or unavailable at certain times? And they said, no, if they say they do it, then that's what they look at. Okay. And so it appears there are other opportunities, but this particular grant, it appears as though that we are not eligible. So.
Okay, this is action item number 9, and it's, I think, what you suggested we table this, or just don't take down. Okay, we're not going to take any action on it. Okay. So you want to take 11 first and then 10, because I think that's how we normally procedurally do that. Does anybody have any objections to that? Okay. We're going to go to action item 11, consider authorizing staff to negotiate a contract for GIS hosting services with Timmons Group as per staff recommendation.
Okay. Quick background on it, Mayor and Commissioners. We did an RFP. We advertised it April 24th and May 1st and posted the information on the Kingsville website. We had 4 potential vendors submit by the opening time. The RFP committee met several times and reviewed what was available as well as the estimated cost of this. The primary reason for having hosted GIS services, we have a new GIS program, engineering, got some 3D CAD software. It's available right now solely to engineering. So if planning wants to use it, or if they need a map, it's really not available. If you need a map, Commissioner, you have to go to engineering and ask them to draw you a map, because that's the only way we can do it. If a developer comes in and wants to see property lines or things like that, it would now be available online. Now, there'll be varying degrees of users. So, say, Commissioner, you want to see a zoning, so you could go in there and you could check streets and zoning, and it would put those 2 layers on the map for you. You wouldn't be able to maybe look at the water towers or the water lines, or maybe you could. It depends on how we set those permissions. Now, in-house, planning would be able to work with different layers. Engineering could work with different layers. And then a public would also have different layers. We would still be maintaining the database here. Then we would, if we put in a new water line, we would draw that water line on our water line map, and then we would send that to the hosting service. Then they would, put the new map in. It's really beyond our capability to host this. It's a little above our head, and we really don't have the capacity nor the connectivity for users to come in and do this. So there'll be a link on our website. So all you have to do, or whatever we call it, city maps or whatever, you click on that, it will take you to the other site where it's hosted GIS services. There's some different information there in your packet that talks about, different, there's the actual rankings for the different committee members and such. But, there's like XY point tools and line tools and text tools and layer managers and things like that. It will cost, that page. The initial cost is $13,180. It's $600 a month to host. So there's 3 more months in this fiscal year. So the total FY 2013 impact is $14,980. And what we're asking for here is actually to approve the negotiation of the contract with the Timmons Group, which is who ranked the highest in the RFP committee analysis.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
how long is the contract gonna be for? No, it's not gonna be for the next few months, is it?
Right, well, basically, once they get that data up there, we just pay them their hosting service because
So we pay
we're
them $600 a month?
to host it.
Okay, and how often do other departments need this mapping?
Every day.
Every day for
Every day.
planning, community appearance, permits.
Okay, and every day, it takes how many hours out of our employees' time to get maps for you? What about engineering?
Well, what we do now
I want to see it justified spending $600 a month.
What we do now is we have to call or send an email because a lot of times the engineers who do that work, they're out in the field doing their work. So we have to email or call and leave a message for them to do it when they get back, when they have time to do it. And so we're waiting for the maps to come back so that we can send them out with the packets to the Planning and Zoning Commission or to me so that I know which addresses to send notification letters to.
But we know that planning and zoning are going to meet at a certain time, so we have time to send that information to give them time to get the maps to you. It's not like you need a map.
Sometimes, I'm saying, to meet the mail deadline, I do need that to meet it by that deadline, and a lot of times I do need to know that information quickly because I had a gentleman come into my office today asking me where a water line ended because he was considering placing a water line further along, and I didn't have access to that map, so I had to go and find old maps in engineering, and I hope that map was correct at that time. But what I had to do is I had to send an email to engineering saying, can you send me an updated map to verify? Then I could call the potential person that I was going to partner with, and maybe extending the water line out. So he's waiting right now on a map, an updated map.
And how many people do we have in engineering?
There's actually only, I can give you a little bit of oversight of how this works.
But how many people do we have working in engineering right now?
That can make maps. Really, JR and Paul makes 2.
So we only have 2 people in engineering. How come the rest of them can't make maps?
Because it's
part-time also.
Yes, because it's a specialized.
Part-time?
It's a specialized task.
Okay, now I'm just want to get my answer.
So what they do right now is what they've been doing for the past few months, I think, is trying to collect the maps and only making them on certain days when they know that the part-timers will be there. However, it's not as quick as a response time as some people may need. So that's why we feel the need to do this. And it also gives people with a little bit less technical knowledge the ability to make the maps that they require.
So if we have a person that's out there, you can get on, say it would be you. You can get online, put up your own maps, and you wouldn't have to wait for engineering and answer your own question right then and there. Okay. Just want to get some more information.
And like I said, most cities in the valley have that capability already.
If they don't have it already, they're headed that way.
Okay.
You guys are down the road a ways. You got the base maps. You got your water line maps. Now it's just getting it so that the public can use it.
Like I said, there's multiple layers for land use, the downtown district, the historical district.
I just want to have all all my ducks in a row when people ask me why we're spending $600 a month, so somebody can make a map. So I want to make sure that I'm informed, so I don't just, because they said they wanted some. Okay.
Any other questions?
I think that the usage is beyond just making maps. You can gather all the type of information from it, can't you?
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
So it's not just maps.
Right.
It's a lot of other data that is available there that you needed immediately to be proficient and efficient in your job.
Mm-hmm. It can be of assistance to the police department, sanitation department. There's a lot of internal users that could benefit from it, but certainly external users could. The brush zone. You look on the internet and click and see a picture of where the brush zone is, not just zone 3.
Well, I can tell you from experience, that would have been really handy to have years ago. It's a good tool, but we still need to justify to the people. Thank you.
Certainly. Okay, it's an action item.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Thaney to authorize staff to negotiate this contract, seconded by Commissioner Pickles. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Pickles?
Yes.
Commissioner Tanya?
Yes.
Commissioner Luber?
Yes.
Mayor Peake?
Yes. Next item is consider introduction of an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2012-2013 budget of the general fund information technology department for GIS server hosting services. Mark, good to see you.
Good to be here.
Money man.
This is an introduction of the item that was just presented to you. The financing this activity for the $14,980 that's projected to cost would be coming from our unassigned fund balance. The term unassigned is a new term. It used to be undesignated, unrestricted fund balance. In our accounting requirements under GASB 54, it required a new term to be utilized, and it's called unassigned fund balance. But that's the fund balance that doesn't have contingencies on it or assignment to it. So it would be available in the funding. And we had fund balance that occurred that's still unexpended or undesignated in fiscal year 12 that occurred last year.
How much is still left to? There was about 140,000.
It's knocking right at about 100,000.
Right down. Okay.
At this point, yes.
Okay. That's the surplus we had left over for 11, 12.
Yes, sir. It's not that.
And that's where this money's coming from?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions about this? This is an introduction item. If not, we'll go on to consider awarding bid for concrete paving improvements phase 3 to E-Tech Construction for staff recommendation. This is phase 3, so is there going to be another phase after this? Possibly. I don't mean to throw you off there.
Well, I was going to say something, but I don't know how appropriate it would have been, but if we can continue to allocate funding, we can continue to repair streets, both concrete and asphalt. So, this is phase 3. We prioritized 2 years ago approximately 30 or so of the concrete street intersections, curb sections that were the most in need of repair. The first 2 have taken really a lot of the worst of the worst, so to speak. There's still a lot to be done. In this particular case, it's for 10 intersections. They're not all intersections. Some of them are actually, within the intersections or just on the regular street. But we advertised for sealed bids June 5th and 12th. 2 potential vendors attended the mandatory pre-bid and site visitation, and it was a lovely day of walking around the concrete streets. So actually only 1 bid was submitted, and that was E-Tech Construction of San Antonio in the amount of $149,700. He did have an alternate on one of the projects of $10,736, which would bring the total to $160,436. There was one particular street that we could do this section, come over here and saw cut this and saw cut that, or actually go to the joints and just do the whole section. And it would be much better to do the whole section. That's what the alternate bid came in. E-Tech Construction has successfully completed a couple of projects for us. They did the Cavazos water line extension that went to the bays, and they've also been doing some of our major valve replacement work, some of the 16 and 18-inch valves. And they have successfully completed all of those projects, and we would recommend that the contract be awarded for $160,436 coming from CO 2013 Street Projects Fund.
So the money has been allocated for that project?
Yes, sir. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there's approximately about $200,000 left that we had designated towards concrete streets. So there's a possibility if in the process of this, if we can discover a few more that are in particular shape. I'm not advocating a change order even before the contract is awarded. However, you know, if we can come up with some extra funds and we run into identify some problems with that, then possibly we could arrange for some additional funding.
It hasn't been appropriated.
Yeah.
Any questions?
It may not have.
Action item?
It is an action item.
Yeah.
Motion.
You gonna
You make it. Go ahead, make it.
Make a motion that we accept the staff recommendation to award the bid for phase 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Lippert to approve this bid, seconded by Commissioner Pecos. What other, do you feel comfortable just having one bid? I know we've worked with these people in the past, but I mean,
It's always kind of iffy. When we did phase 2, we only had one bid.
Yeah.
We had 3 people come and we walked the streets and only one person turned in a bid. It's completely up to the commission.
Not just always. You feel comfortable with it. If the phase 2 worked out pretty well. In fact, I thought phase 2 was a lot cheaper than phase 1, if I remember correctly, and we had some competitive bidding in phase 1.
Yes.
And didn't this company didn't do phase 2?
No. It was a company that was, the contractor was based out of Corpus, and he basically had everything subcontracted. It was kind of a combination because the contractor actually did the work, didn't have the financial backing for the bid, all the bonding. So he got with another person who had the adequate financial backing for the bonding. So there was actually, they kind of did a partnership. It wasn't really listed as a partnership, but that's really kind of how it was. So, but yeah, we got a lot more we got a lot more intersections and streets done in phase 2 for, I think phase 2 ended up being 240,000 and phase 1 was 200. But we got significantly more, significantly more square footage in phase 2.
This looks to be a good bid to me. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Is that historically been a problem with concrete projects, or?
Well, this is the first time in 9 years.
I mean, is there bonding issues or what? I mean,
no, it's it's
the size of the project.
Size of the project. You know, when you've got a $200,000 or $300,000 project, and you have to do a bid bond, a performance bond, and a payment bond, I wouldn't say it's overly expensive, but it certainly adds to your cost. And you have to have the financial backing.
That's really what it is. And it's not uncommon in the construction industry to have someone that has the wherewithal to get the bondings in order and have someone else completely else do the work. It's not that, that's really fairly common. Any other questions? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Pena?
Yes.
Commissioner Luber?
Yes.
Commissioner Beckles?
Yes.
Mayor Buhey?
Yes. Next item is consider resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an easement with Clayburgh County for construction and maintenance of a fence near the Kingsville Law Enforcement Center.
Mayor, Commissioners, as you know, with our beautification projects with the city, we've been wanting to for some time put up a fence to secure those vehicles that we have seized on the backside of the police department. In order to be able to do this, there's a couple of light standards that were actually put in when the building and the property was put up. Those light standards are actually on Clayburgh County property.
Just don't tell them and they won't know.
Unfortunately, one of them is fortunately, one of them is only about 2 feet into their property. Unfortunately, the other one's about 11 feet into their property. It just wouldn't make sense to put up a fence right up to a light pole and then have people climb up the light pole and jump over the fence. So we're asking for an easement. I spoke to the county judge regarding this particular issue to try to get an easement of 15 feet on the west side of the building. It'll go from our property line at the front of the building all the way to the rear and then back across so that we could go ahead and capture those 2 light standards and actually keep them on the property. So we're requesting a resolution to be able to justify it.
Any questions? This is an action item. It sounds good.
Thanks.
Congratulations, by the way, on y'all's deal last week. That's
nice pot.
Yeah, it's really good work. This is an action item.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion made by Commissioner Pena to accept this resolution, seconded by Commissioner Luber. Is there any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Luber?
Yes.
Commissioner Beckles?
Yes.
Commissioner Pena?
Yes.
Mayor Buhey?
Yes. Next item is consider resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an easement of agreement for a water line with the Board of Regents of Texas A&M University system for construction and maintenance of a water line. Bill, how are you tonight?
Good, fine, sir. Little horse from the baseball this weekend in Eagle Pass. But this here is
I can assure you that no one was hoarse after our game, as there was nothing to yell about.
This is an easement going from Corral Street to Avenue B through the university property. It's going to benefit both the city and the university. The university will end up with another tie-in off of this water line, and the city will connect the subdivision to the north of Corral with the Santa, with a very true subdivision there. And it'll benefit us as looping, and it'll benefit the university as well, to give them an added water supply, because both of theirs are right there at Armstrong and so this easement's going to be a benefit to both of them.
I was out there walking Friday morning and just kind of walk around the Newman Center and all that. But they're going to they're going to put a road, it looks like, behind the Newman Center, which will extend Seal Street all the way to Corral. Is that right?
Yes.
And they've done the universities, I guess, university, but that's who's doing it.
Yeah.
Boy, they have really put some money into drainage out there. It's quite a project. And then if you go Avenue B, it goes out to Santa Rosa. That looks like the Baxton's eventually going to do the road out through there too. I mean, they're putting in a lot of money in drainage in that area too. So this is just going to be a water line that's going to run along that drainage there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions about this? How big a line is it going to be?
It's going to be an 8-inch line.
8-inch line?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I saw where it helps. It'll help the water pressure in that area too.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good deal. Anybody else have any questions? This is an action item.
So move, Mayor.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Pappas to accept this resolution, seconded by Commissioner Pena. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Pappas?
Yes.
Commissioner Pena?
Yes.
Commissioner Luber?
Yes.
Mayor King.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we got some Boy Scouts. I know it's kind of out of the ordinary. We're fixing to wind up all our business. Where's Scoutmaster? You got one? Yes, sir. What troop are y'all with?
144, sir.
144, okay. And how many, you got a bunch of young men up here, you want to bring them all up and put them in front of the TV camera and they can, are you going to be, are we going to air this on Channel 2 one of these days?
Yes, it'll be up tomorrow.
It'll be on tomorrow, come on up guys. How you guys doing? Okay.
Then we got a future mayor on that bunch there, Mayor?
It looks like that bunch of them. Yeah. Good to get your Camp Caronquo badge on there. I spent some summers up there. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Come on up and tell us who's in charge. Who's the leader of the group here? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your troop here, what y'all are doing this summer, and what you're doing here? They made you come.
Yeah.
Is this citizenship in the community, or you're working on
Communications, and also for citizenship in the world. For that merit badge, it's a requirement to attend a city council meeting.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, well, back when I was a scout, we didn't have communications and that stuff. We had citizenship in the home and citizenship in the community and nation. And now it's the world. All right. Good deal.
But you only earn one badge, Mayor.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys missed about half the meeting, so I'm not sure this is going to kill it. Anything? Did y'all? Have you already been to Camp Caronquo this summer? No, not gonna go.
Actually, we went up to Winter Wells, Camp Constantine.
Oh, really? We never got that far.
We try to do an out of council summer camp every other year. I actually just started back up with the guys. This is my old troop. So.
All right. Why don't you start on that end and tell us who you are and tell us what your rank is.
My name is Ray Borjon. I'm a Star Scout, and I've been in the troop for about 6 years.
Okay. That means you had to have at least 5 merit badges? Or how many now?
No, I have way more than 5 merit badges.
But you have to have 5 and then be a star, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm Orlando Sabella. I'm a Star Scout. I've been in the Scouts for 5 years.
I'm Zach Rodriguez. I'm a Star Scout, and I've been in Scouts for 6 years.
I'm Marco Salinas. I'm a Star Scout. I've been in Scouts for 5.5 years.
My name is Medilla Paz. I'm a Star Scout, and I have been in the troop for about 5 years.
I'm Bailey Gaddis. I'm a first class scout, and I've been in the troop for about 4 years.
I'm Aaron Sines. I joined February and Tenderfoot. I think.
Come on up here so they get you on camera. There you go, buddy.
I'm second class. I joined 2 years ago.
Marcos Espinosa, Tenderfoot, and I've been for about 2 years.
And my name is Victor Briseño, and I've been in the scouting program for at least 6 years, I believe. I am a life scout, and I should be expecting my eagle by the end of the year.
All right, good deal. It's a great program, and you guys are, all you stars, and y'all are getting close to Eagle too, so that's a great thing. Thank y'all for being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. With that is all the business we have of the city tonight. We are adjourned.
Yes, sir.